Hey everybody, Jason Ryan here. How you doing? So I just wanted to go over a couple of steps that I use when I'm trying to polish animation, polish facial animation especially. I'm working with this new character, Angela, that was rigged and modeled and designed by Angelo Stacatalina. And I'm testing it out, kind of rig testing, and this was one that I used for my last shot for JRA Series 5. It's like shots for show reels, and what I want to try and do is like do something very contained, very emotional, very subtle animation. All right. So what I usually do after I've got everything kind of roughed in, like I got the facial roughed in, I got the lip sync roughed in, got everything that I kind of performance wise that I want to go for, it's all in there. And I'll play you that right now, and I'll show you sort of some things that I want to fix on it, and then we'll go in and start to kind of work on some polishing. Okay.
I have doubts. I have such doubts.
Okay. So it's very, very subtle, and like there's a lot of sort of eye acting and sort of cheek animation, nose animation, mouth animation that I want to do. And I'll just kind of go through like some of that stuff that I'm showing you just to kind of show the type of thing that I look for when I'm doing facial, even if it's subtle. I always want to try and add the cheeks in, like when the jaw closes and I start to do this kind of sneer, I'll start to animate the cheeks and start to push them out and sort of, up. And then when they open, I'll start to pull them in and down. All right. And this kind of gives like this sort of bouncing ball, sort of squash and stretch effect. So anytime, I mean, to various degrees, right? The subtlety has to be in there. And this is where like your polish will actually come in. But if I kind of go, I mean, I'll try and get like an example here where you can really, really see it right in here. Okay. So like right here, the cheeks are down, they're kind of sucked in a little bit. And then when she closes her mouth, I'm basically raising the mouth closer to the nose like this, and I'm pushing up like the nostrils, and I'm pushing up the cheeks too, right? And this can be kind of difficult to sort of track, especially when the head is moving around. And you've got like a number of controls on the face. And here again, like, opening the mouth, I want to kind of like pull the cheeks down and then suck them in, right? So I'll show you sort of like a trick that I use to try and get that to make it a little bit easier to follow, right? So if we take a look at our character here, Angela, and she's got like these 4 cheek controls right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got like ones on the sides for making the cheeks go out, right? So if we want to just kind of puff them out like this, right? So you have to use them like to various levels of subtlety, like especially you don't want the whole mouth just going to be doing this the whole time. But if you just pepper it in, like as you're kind of working with the open vowels and the closed consonants, then you start to get like this more fleshy feel rather than this dead area where nothing's actually moving, right? So I don't like looking at the controls like this on my camera, right, that I'm actually animating to. So what I usually do is grab another camera, right? So let's say I'll create like a new perspective. And what I'll do is I'll zoom right in and sort of like take a look at the actual face. I just sort of head on like this, right? Something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll parent this to the actual head control, right? So I'll select the camera, right? So we've got basically perspective 2 right here, right? And I'll shift select the head control, boom, right? So now both the camera and the head. When parenting, the child always comes first, so the camera is going to be a child of the head control, so it's going to kind of go with it, right? And then what I'll do is go to edit, and then parent, right down there, parent, boom, okay? So now what we're going to have is we're going to have like all the acting and everything that was in the camera right here. All this stuff is now sort of kind of locked off, so you can really see the controls now going up and down, in and out. And now this makes it a little bit easier, a lot easier, than trying to track arcs like across things, right? So like doing like this kind of squish right here, I can see already that there's some sort of, like the cheeks look like they're coming down here when they shouldn't be, right? So they're up here, and then they're sort of like squishing like this, and they really should be going up, right? So if we take a look at that one area there, and we go to our perspective 2, I'm going to tear off a copy of this, okay? So this will be our sort of like our face cam. And you can kind of zoom in and out of this like as you want, right? So you can still kind of work in this little area right here, right? And then you can basically go ahead and pick like the cheeks. And I'll do like a whole pass on the cheeks, like going all the way through like the whole thing, right? So right in here, see the way you can see very clearly now, like that the cheeks are coming down when they shouldn't be, right? So I want to go in there and just sort of go, and just gonna push them up, okay? So now I'm getting that feel, right? And I might actually even go in and just sort of push this out a little bit, like this. And this one over here, and push that out a little bit. So we just kind of get like this little bit of squash and stretch. And I'm also translating the nose up here. Like, and that adds another little bit of dimension to like loosening up the face, like the muzzle, we'll call it, right? So I'll have my camera over here without any curves on it. So it's nice and clear and able to see. And I'll sort of flip that and see how that looks, looking right here. And then I'll start to look at like what's going on with my actual controls on the face, right? So I might actually go in and grab like these nostrils right here and maybe pull them out and up a little bit, right? And this way, like you can kind of see the effect of like what the mouth is actually doing. And I'll try and tie this whole thing together as a unit, right? So like the nostril, like basically like from the middle of the nose down to the chin, and try and work that as a whole unit, right? So I might grab like the mouth and have a look at that and say, okay, yeah, I mean, you can see it already here. I'm sort of translating it up, but like, you know, we can move this wherever we want, you know, just so we're getting like that whole mouth to work inside like this whole muzzle area. And the same thing with the brows. Like I'll try and, you know, rough these in like all the expressions that I really want in here, but then there might be areas like in here where I can see like these middle parts. They sort of like they're coming down and they're starting to come up, which is okay. And then they come back down again. But like, I mean, do I want to have like a little bit of extra motion happening here with these guys? So just like a tiniest bit of motion there just to keep that going. And then like as they're coming down, do I want that just to stop dead right there? Or do I want it just to just keep coming down just slightly, just so we got like that extra little bit of fluidity, right? And then right here, looks like this is locked and this is locked, even though we can't really see it here, right? Like when we're looking at the head sort of in motion. But this is like an area of polish that will just kind of give you like that extra bit of fluidity, so no areas just so go dead on us, right? So just start pushing that down. And then right here, I can see like right there, just like, push that down just the tiniest bit. And then come back up. Cool. All right. And then back to this one, back up a little bit. And you can see already, right? Like that, you can kind of go, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm starting to see how this can actually work, right? Right in here, we have like this muzzle control over here, right? So right there. And then I want to just say, okay, what is going on here? I know I'm starting to set up like for this sort of like round motion right here, like for this, like you can see, like I want to get the jaw to come around. And I'm trying to hide it like inside that action right there. Now I mean, right now it seems like it's magnified, right? So I can kind of go, okay, yeah, now I can just sort of just kind of slow into that just a little bit more so it doesn't just pop on us, right? And the nose too. Looks like the nose right here feels like it kind of pops up a little bit. So I'm going to rotate that back. And then start to stretch down for here. And that's a big stretch right there. But maybe I might just kind of back off on that just a little bit, just so it's not so stretched out, right? And then right in here, I can see like, okay, yeah, cool. So the mouth is coming up and sort of stops right there. Now, do I want to keep that going? Like, because it feels like the nose like comes up and then stops. And this is like coming up to a more kind of compressed area. So I'll grab like the nose and just tweak that up, and maybe grab the mouth and tweak that up too. And right here, looks like we're really compressing. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit more. Right here too. And I can feel like, see the nose, like the way it sort of splays out there. So I want to grab that whole thing. And this way, like I've got a visual representation of everything that's happening. Right? I can really see it on the actual curves, and I'm able to check back to here to see what's going on. And I can say, oh yeah, I can see like the mouth is coming down when it should be sort of coming up just even a little bit more. And then start to come down into here, right? And maybe we'll slow out of that a little bit. So favor the top. Okay, and then right here, I can say boom. Looks like that nose just sort of like takes like a quick rotate, right? So let's grab that and bring it back. Now right here, let's pull that back a little bit. So now like it travels like in that little bit of an arc. Okay, and this kind of comes up and kind of stops kind of dead right there. So I want to just let that follow through just a smidge. I'm going to keep it up here just a bit. So I know everything's in sync, right? So now this is mainly just sort of like visually and graphically following everything around. So it doesn't overly stretch on us, right? Okay. And then coming up like for the sniffs. Okay. And then down. These feel like they're very broad. So I might like just kind of drag this down just a touch. Just because I want this to be nice and subtle. I don't want it to be overpowering, right? And then dropping down. Okay, and then back to the start of the shot. So she's over there. And then is there anything in here? So right in here, this is good. Like, even before I started parenting the camera, I was even starting to get like the nostrils kind of flaring there, which is good. Okay, and then dropping down here. So again, just sort of like bringing like the whole nose and mouth into that action. Right in here, I might grab like the cheeks and push those up a little bit right there. And maybe like grab these guys and just pull them out just a touch. I mean, it's not to kind of give her mumps or anything like that, but just just to sort of like give her that extra little bit of fleshiness. And then they drop down here. It's good. So right here, I might just, because there's going to be light sort of like on these cheeks. So like even though like this is sort of a flat shade right here, you might see that actually happening. So like anytime I'm opening the jaw, I'm pulling these in a bit. Right, so we get that nice change up right there, so we can kind of see like the cheekbone a little bit more there, and then letting it come back out. Now, the one thing I probably wouldn't do is actually do a play blast like from this face cam, because it just looks so weird. Just like look, everything's just sort of like going around, like with the center point like locked. So it does look very strange. But I would check out like this just to make sure that everything's starting to polish and like I'm not missing anything. So this is just like a quick overview of like what I'd go through like on a polishing process type thing. Right here, the corners of the mouth are coming up. So grab those guys and pull them up a little bit. Okay, right here, they're kind of falling down just a little bit, which is, I guess, is okay because it's sort of like anticipating that move there, but it might be just a smidge too much. And that's good. And then we get that nice pull down right there. I might actually grab the nose here and just sort of drag that up a little bit just to bring that into the action. And then let it drop right there. All right here. Might drop this down a bit, like the whole mouth and the nose, because I know that's sort of like an outward sort of breath right there. Cool. And then I might pull these cheeks in a smidge. And you can see the effect. Like, I mean, as you're sort of going through it, you can start to see like all the stuff like starting to work together, you know? And that's the main thing that we're looking for, is just sort of like a real fullness in the acting and the lip sync, all right? So let's have a quick look at this, see how it's playing. Actually, let's hide that camera. We don't want to see the camera, right? All right, so let's do that. Let's hide the camera. Turn that off. Okay, now let's play it. Okay.
I have doubts. I have such doubts.
Cool. All right, great. So yeah, so like there's a couple of little areas right in here where I feel like the mouth is sort of coming out right here. I see the way the corners of the mouth start to come out, clink, and then hit that wall right there. So if we can kind of smooth that out, that would be a good thing, right? So let's check it out. What it's around 200. Okay. So let's go ahead, bring up our perspective again, have a look at these corners. And it's around here, so we can kind of see it, boom, and there it is, right? So you can really see it very clearly here, right? So I'm just going to grab these and pull them in, just so that they're favoring that last position. Okay. And then if I'm looking at the mouth, let's have a look and just kind of scrub through here. Okay, and it feels like it just sort of pops up in there, right? So I'm going to set a key at 92. And then a key like at 91. And just see like what is going on here, right? So it just sort of feels like it's really quick as it sort of goes around. So I might start to bring it up here. And what I'm doing is I'm hitting Alt and my arrow button, right? So it goes parallel to this camera. So I'm basically just moving the mouth just with my arrow key so I can go side to side. And that's really what I'm doing. I'm graphically changing like where that mouth is actually deforming so that it slows up into that position. Okay, and then right in here, if it just kind of stops right there, maybe let's let it follow through just a smidge more, and then let it come down. Okay. And then right here, let's grab these guys, pull them down. Just a little bit, right? So we just get that little bit of pull. And then that goes into that sort of like that sniff area right there. It might be coming in a bit too much. I don't want to go like nuts right there, right? There we go. And then pull these down a bit. So into that sniff, and then let it relax. Okay, one more time. Let's see if like those corners like hit that wall anymore.
I have doubts. I have such doubts.
Cool. So like we'll just kind of scrub through here now that they sort of go around and they're not like hitting that wall anymore. It just sort of like gradually comes out. So it's got like this much more organic kind of feel.
Such doubts. I have doubts. I have such doubts.
Cool. So hopefully this was helpful for you, like as you're kind of going through like your polishing process on your lip sync and your cheeks and your eyes and brows. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time. All right. Take care of yourselves. Bye.